Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
Hey guys, this is your co-host Ashley, Gorilla Girl filmmaker, lunar goddess, and cinephile.
Hey y'all, this is your guest ghost host, Lila Kay. I'm coming at you from the mile high to bring you chills and thrills.
And I'm your co-host, John Thomas, ghost hunter, super smartass, and film lover extraordinaire.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and paranormal loving pals? Welcome back to our Ghost Stories Special, Part 2. Joining us today is the ever-engaging Shane alongside your 3Haunted crew as we continue to discuss supernatural experiences and more. Lean in a little closer if you dare.
But first, a word from our network sponsor.
Are you looking for more awesome podcasts? Head on over to withoutyourhead.com for access to the Without Your Head podcast network, where you'll find a variety of podcasts sure to keep you entertained and coming back for more.
And we are back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ghost Stories Part 2. And we have, you said Shane already, right?
That's me.
Yeah. Yay. Shane's
I was
back.
I was thinking the SNL skit, you know, when they're on the radio show. And we're back. And we're back.
Welcome back.
Aggressive. Yeah.
Glad to have you. It's been a few episodes. You've become like a steady fixture in our podcast, so it's been a little weird not having you on. Like, I feel like my comfort blanket's gone or something. Like,
I know. I missed you guys. I really did.
We missed you. And of course, we have the amazing ghost host, Lila.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so as we said, we're talking about some ghost stories today. Last episode, we shared some of our personal paranormal experiences, so we'll continue on that journey today. Now, really cool thing we discovered at the end of last episode was that we've all experienced some version of the Numena. And since Shane's on here, and Shane has experienced all sorts of weird shit in his life, I'm curious if you've ever come across a Numena or you've heard about it in your research.
A Numena. I've actually not heard about that. What is a Numena?
So Numena, Lila, you guys have seen it. Will you describe what it looks like? I know what it feels like. I don't know what
Yeah, so when we were on for the last episode, we were talking about our shared experiences, which we all didn't know were shared experiences until the discussion of these creatures. So they are spirits of some sort, but they are not human. So the way that I have seen them in my own experiences is these big old, I called them buff greyhounds in the last episode. So they walk on all fours, run on all fours. They are these big, mean-looking creatures, but they are actually non-threatening. They are actually very tame. The way that I see them is in light. So they look like they are glowing. So glowing greyhounds is my description of it. But I also know that they have been seen in similar but not exactly the same ways.
Interesting. No, I've never heard of Numena before.
For me, I get a mental image when I've felt them. I've only felt them, I want to say once, and it was a very intense experience. The mental image I got was that they have like very claw-like hands, but very much what she described. The head kind of is not animal-like. It's almost more like, I don't know how to describe it, creature-like, but not animal, if that makes sense. Not like an animal we're used to seeing. So they feel very curious, but also very like nasty little creatures. I don't know how to explain. Like they're not going to attack you, but they don't feel like, yeah, let me pet you. Can I pet your dog? Like that is not a dog you want to pet. And it's interesting because I think in both of our experiences, it was an area of high energy, high activity. I had been told by someone when I had felt it, and I was like, what the hell is that? I had been told, well, it's just the Numena. Don't worry about that. They're drawn to high energy. And like, so then I wonder how many people have experienced that around places where there's like vortexes or altars or stuff like that, where people are accumulating large amounts of energy.
Right. And Shane, I can't remember, but I think you said that you like to play video games, right?
I do.
You've played Resident Evil 2?
I mean, probably
Way back
at
when?
some point. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's these creatures on there, and their name is very, very funny. And they're the lickers, the things with the long tongues.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how I describe what these things look like, at least from what I've seen, minus the long tongues. But the claws, they're huge, just like Ashley was saying. And and I've seen them kind of brownish, kind of tan, gray looking. Yeah, so.
Well, I've never seen anything like that, luckily. I don't know what I'd do if I'd seen something like that. But I will tell you guys something about myself, and I think I've said it before, is I don't try and make myself sensitive to any of that at all, because I'm terribly afraid that once you open the floodgates, you can't close them. So I kind of tend to close myself off from any kind of paranormal event whatsoever. I mean, the last time I've tried to open those gates was in my childhood, and a lot of stuff came from that and into my teenage years. So I haven't really looked back at it since.
Part of your young adult years too.
Well, that's my teenage years. Yeah, my
19.
Where you knew me. You knew me. Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm aware. So in the research that you've done with the occult and with Native American experiences, or not experiences, but Native American lore, have you come across anything that sounds similar to that?
I mean, in Native American lore, you generally have, and it depends what tribe you have, but they tend to have spirit guides, and everything is with meaning. Usually, with Native American lore, if something shows up at your door, and it's the same with Celtic, because I studied Celtic culture as well. So, like Celtic shamanism when I was in my younger years. Generally, when something make an appearance to you, it's because it's trying to tell you something. So like the Banshee, for instance, the Banshee, its sole purpose is to tell you of misfortune in your family or somebody close to you. And it comes in different forms. So sometimes it'll come in the form of, ravens, or the form of a horse-drawn carriage. But it's always with purpose. Native American, it's always with purpose.
Okay. Well, there goes that. I was hoping we'd get like another connection to this.
Oh.
Or at least more information.
Well,
if
I mean,
nothing
kind
else.
of, in a
Well,
way,
yeah, but
though,
I mean-
because we figured they were like messengers. Sorry, Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's with Native American, like I said, it's there could be a connection. I honestly was studying religious philosophy, and I always found that a lot of them almost are interconnected. And when you talk angels and demons, almost every culture, almost every religion has a similar belief. And I always deeply believed all of them were connected. So when you talk spirituality, or even like just the ghosts and spirits, I mean, who's to say that the what are they called, Hemena?
Numena?
Who's Nomena? So who's to say that those are not a form or an astral form of something that's just making its way in? Or who's to say it's just not an interdimensional being, that exists in all different religions? The Middle Easterns, they think that the jinn are that. Not just ghosts or genies. They think that they're actually interdimensional beings, and that they can go back and forth between our realm and theirs.
Yeah, it's interesting. We had done some research a little bit after we finished recording the last one on the Numena, and we'd come across this description or definition, if you will, that really I feel hit the spot about them being like this almost galactical being that is outside of physical formation, and that travels kind of along the creative muse path. And I don't know. I'm paraphrasing. I was trying to find the definition because I felt like it hit the nail on the head. So, and I thought I had saved it, but apparently I didn't.
So I just found Numena Noumena, and it's as lighting electrons, molecules, light. But then there's also numen, which is a Latin term for divinity or divine presence, and that's Numen. Oh yeah, plural, noumena.
Numina.
In
Yeah.
Numina is a Latin term for divinity, divine
Numina.
presence.
I found the definitions that I had connected with. Okay, so it's Numena whirl unseen through universal expanses, dropping some of their characteristics to form phenomena for the empirical perceptors devoted to sensing creatures and things, and maybe ideas in the world. So it's like they're muses, is what it
Muses,
sounds like
yeah.
to me. Yeah,
Right.
muses that are like dropping into sensitive people who can sense on a different level. So I don't know. It was interesting. So what ghost stories do we have today?
Well, I was looking up some really good ones, and one kind of popped in my mind, or popped into my phone, and it was one that I just creeped me the hell out. And it was one called I think it's Hugging Molly. Yeah, Hugging Molly from Alabama. So it says if you want to avoid Hugging Molly's chilly embrace, as legend goes, beginning in the early 1900s, an oversized figure clad in all black began roaming the streets at night looking for unsuspecting victims. Once she fixates on someone, she hugs the person and screams loudly into their ears. Many people have recounted stories of being chased by what they believe was Huggin' Molly. Local parents have even taken advantage of the story to keep their children in line. Yeah, that's terrifying.
That's terrifying. She hugs you and screams your ear. At least that's all she does. Like, she could do
Right.
worse when she's hugging you. Like, you could die. At least this one, it sounds like you're just really uncomfortable and annoyed.
I don't know,
Maybe a
man.
little
When I
tough.
was scared as a kid, I had something hold my arms down. It was probably just sleep paralysis, but something was tickling me when I was a little kid at night, in the middle of the night, and I would yell loudly to my mom would have to come in the room, but yeah, something was holding my arms above my head, and it's like, okay, it's tickling me. I get it, but it's not like super malicious, but it's really creepy to not, that something that's not supposed to be there is doing that to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's bad enough when, you get people that do know you that try to tickle you. And you're just like, no, don't freaking touch me. What are you doing? Like, let alone
Yeah.
an unseen thing. Yeah.
It's like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I don't know if you guys have seen that or read
Oh,
the
yeah.
books.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The big fat woman that
Oh, that
hugs
absorbs
Yeah.
you.
yeah,
Yep.
he absorbs you.
Oh, they did
Yeah.
really well with the visual on that in the movie.
did.
That was disturbing.
You know, it's funny. This isn't even the first time that we've brought up those books in
Yes.
the movie. I love them. I loved them a lot when I was a kid growing up. That was like
I
my
always remember
favorite
the
thing to
illustrations.
read. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are
Those
so
always stick in my
creepy.
head. And there was nothing complex about them. They just really captured the nature of the story that it's like, fuck, that's alarming.
Yeah.
Like that spider one. Oh,
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't-
good.
good. Yeah, I love Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I read those as kids because there's 2 books, right?
I think there's like 3.
Are there more?
Yeah,
Three.
Oh,
three,
well, I feel
yeah.
like I've read them all, but I don't know. I've
yeah.
lost count how many, but I love those books. And if I could give those to my children at some point when that's not going to freak them out, I'm totally going to. I'll be like, continue that. Like, they were terrifying, right? Like, here, I love you. Be terrified. But it's just... there's just something about those that I feel like cannot be mimicked or copied or just redone. Like those originals, I want to just pass on to them and be like, here, now you can have all the nightmares that I had. I love you.
It's the shared trauma. You want them to have that same fear response you did because, bonding.
Oh, that's so fucked up.
My
Just like a
my
little
kids have all
bit.
the books. My
There you
kids
go.
have all the whole series.
Nice.
They love those.
Yeah. I mean, they're good.
Yes.
And I was a little concerned when they said they were making the movie. I'm like, it could either do well or it could be just not on the market. I watched the movie and I actually liked it.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Decent job, yeah.
Really good job.
Yes.
I'm curious if they're going to make a part 2.
I think they are. I haven't heard anything recently, but I'm pretty sure that was the plan since it made so much money.
They left it open for a part
Yeah.
2, so I was just curious about that.
I'd be into it.
I'm
yeah.
so into it. When it comes to supernatural experiences, I feel like people really get nervous to talk about it unless they're in a group and it's like, well, it can't be recorded and broadcast over a podcast, so it's okay. But how many people out there do you think actually believe in supernatural experiences and ghost stories? I think they want to believe, or we wouldn't have 50 million shows out there about it. But
Right.
how many actually believe in ghosts?
I think a lot do. I mean, a lot of my coworkers and employees, you know, because I'm a big scary movie guy, so I always, hey, you watch this movie, and like, nope, 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 nope. And I encounter more of those people than I do, you know, like, oh yeah, I love those movies, or you know, whatever. It doesn't really scare me. It's more so that nope, I don't even want it. I don't want it in my house. I don't want to see it. So I think more people are afraid than there are not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think more people are actually interested in it than want to actually admit to it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, like you said, they're in a group of, you know, people who are like-minded. And they're like, oh, well, okay, since you kind of think so, then here's this situation that I found, and I don't know what the hell that was, and what do you think about that? So I know that I was always kind of nervous to talk about it with people that I had either just met or, you know, work with, because I don't know how they're going to perceive how I feel, or, you know, whatever. But I'm just like, eh. But now I'm like, fuck yeah, there's a ghost at work. Like, I call him Larry. He likes to fuck with us all the time. He walks around, and I see him out of the corner of my eye. And I swear to God, he throws shit at me when I'm there in the morning. We have a little skimmer thing for the fryers to clean out all the extra crud. And I swear to God, he throws it every morning. It falls off of where we have it. And there's no way for it to fall. But I'll be in the lobby or whatever, and then all of a sudden I hear this loud ass noise, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? It's not the ice machine. I know the ice machine noise. And I'll come in, and the skimmer's on the floor, and I'm like, fucking Larry, what are you doing? Like, I know you're here. Hi, good morning. Like,
I love that you name your ghost Larry.
yes.
Like a little harmless poltergeist action there.
Right, and I'm pretty sure he had another name, because Lila, he was there when Lila worked there too, but I don't remember what we called him first, but it's Larry
I don't
now.
remember, but that was a while ago. Yeah, I mean, same answer. I think more people are curious and they want to talk about ghost stories and experiences and things like that. It's just a matter of comfort with the person that you're telling your experiences to. Like, I have had people come up to me, like coworkers come up and be like, oh, I had this experience here at work, and the place that I work at is not a small place. I work in a very large space. So I'm like, okay, well, good to know that that's happening in this area. Very interesting. But it's always the hesitant question that I get of do you believe in ghosts by any chance? And I have to keep my cool. And I'm like, yes, I do. Do you? Rather than just full on going out like, yes, I love it. Like, let's talk about our experiences.
Let's investigate together.
Let's do it. I
have my back in the car.
Exactly. I'm ready to go when you are. Just trying not to like geek out about it, because I get very excited and I do want to talk about, you know,
Everything.
the spirit world and my experiences with other people, but I also don't want to freak them out. And I feel like that's how other people feel also, you know, telling their experiences. They want to test those waters, but they don't know how to go about it.
That makes sense.
So is there like or for you guys, is there like a topic, like a ghost story topic that just really kind of, where it's almost like, nope, I don't, if that ever happens to you in your house or like somewhere where you work, is there something where you're like, no, I'm out. I can't do this.
Anything that comes close to possession sounding. If it sounds like demonic in nature.
Yeah. Malicious.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to even be connected to that in any way.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Although my curiosity kind of gets the better of me, and I'm like, well, maybe I can handle being in a situation like that as long as
It's
it
the
wasn't
investigator of you, and like the
Yeah, I'm
investigator.
like- Yeah, let me see. But I don't, honestly, I think if it came down to it and somebody's like, yeah, hey, I need help with this, I would probably be like, good luck.
Call a priest.
Yeah.
If it's not an incubus, I don't want to play. So I actually worked at a TV station in Utah. It was a small one. It wasn't big. It was like a local TV station. And the station owner, the TV station owner, he had given me keys to the station because I had done so much work there that he's just like, yeah, if you want to write, come in and write when we're not recording like anything. You're more than welcome to come in. Or even if they are recording, just depending if he's in his office or not, because usually I would just take his office and work in there on like writing. And so I like to work at night. That's what I work best, because I don't like a lot of people walking by and trying to talk to me and interrupt my flow. So it's like, I want to go when it's pretty empty. And so I had let them know, hey, I'm probably going to come tonight, like around 9 or 10. When everything's calmed down. And it was funny how many people there who are like super just everyday, happy-go-lucky, never talked about supernatural. As soon as I said I'm going to come at about 9 or 10, they're just like, but why? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna write. And they're just like, but I don't think you want to be here alone. And it's just like, why? This is not like a seedy area. I think, it's okay. And there's like a 2 doors down, there's like a hoppin' sushi restaurant. Like it's like I think I'll be okay. And they're just like, no, but it's haunted. And it's funny how much they hesitated before they would tell me, like, but it's haunted.
Didn't want to seem crazy. Like this. Like,
yeah, but then the idea of me being there by myself, they're just like, no, don't do it. And I'm like, I think I'll be okay. Like it should be fine. And they're just like, but it, it's haunted, and I don't think you want to be here alone. And they kept trying to, like, it was more than one person, like, push me away from that. And I was like, well, something is bad. Has something bad happened, like violent, or is there something that just is menacing about it that I should be concerned about? They're just like, well, no. We just hear things being moved around and stuff, knocking and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm good with that. Like, that's fine. If I avoid every place that's haunted in this world, I'm going to be confined to a lot of places. So I'm like, I think it's fine. And so I went there that night, and I'm sitting there, and I was facing the studio. Like, the desk has the back to the windows to the parking lot. So I was facing the studio, and the light in the office I was working in was the only light on, because I don't need the whole studio lit up. And I remember just like I'm sitting there working, writing in my own space, and when you're focused, you don't hear what you're hearing at first.
Yeah.
And so I'm working, and I paused and realized I'd been hearing the same sound for probably the past like 5 or 10 minutes.
Just trying to get your attention.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh wait, what am I hearing? And it sounded like something was being dragged through like the opposite side of the station, because it was one big station that they had separated like cubbies in for recording like different segments. And so I'm just like, sounds like it's towards the back, like near the bathrooms. And I was like, oh, I hope nobody's in here. Maybe I should check it out just in case, because everybody's famous last words in horror movies. And I know I had like locked it all, so I was locked in. But I'm like, let me just double check. And I'm like walking through. I have a can of like mace in my hands just in case it's a person, like a real person. So I'm walking around this side, and I walk towards the back, and I turn just like the what are they called, the floodlights, or like the little like night lights on, but not the full fluorescence. So I'm walking through, and I can see just enough. I get towards the back where the bathroom is, and there is a section that was being renovated, but there was like storage. So there's like a shit ton of boxes and pallets in there, but nothing else. And it's blocked off because they don't want us going in there. So I'm just like, well, there's nothing in there. And I check the bathrooms, check the back door, nothing in there. And I'm like, okay. And I've checked all that area. So I'm like, all right. So I turn around and start to walk back. And as I'm going to turn the corner to go back to the office, I hear behind me the scraping recommence. And it sounds like someone's dragging like heavy equipment. And I stop and turn, and it stops. And I'm like, okay. Like, so this is how we're going to play. Okay. And as goofy as it was, I just said out loud, hey, stop fucking with me. I'm trying to write. And I'm like, you can feng shui the studio all you want, but I'm going to continue writing. So I'm gonna be in there. Went back in the office.
And did it stop?
I stayed there for a few hours. No, I kept hearing it. I was just like, well, obviously you're an attention whore, and I'm not going to pay attention to you. So if you have something to say to me, you can come talk to me. But, like, just the movie, it really did sound like the equipment, like the actual, like, heavy lights and stuff was being dragged back and forth across this TV studio, the TV station. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. Like, what can you do? I could leave, but...
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm focused. I'm here. I'm not gonna, like...
You came there to work, and you were gonna work.
And I did. And I could hear it. Like, I'd be working, and I just started kind of laughing to myself when I would hear it, like, just moving things around. And, I'm assuming that was... I don't know what it was. But it was definitely a sound coming from within and echoing within the main part of the studio. So I was like, whatever. You do you. Maybe that's how ghosts deal with their anxiety. They rearrange furniture.
Maybe.
I could feel it though. There were a few times where, because I would go at night to write. That wasn't the only time. And I could feel, like, while I was writing, it felt like someone would come up to the door and just kind of watch me for a moment and then continue on. Like, you can feel when someone's kind of, like, focusing on you. So I'm just like, I hope you like what you see, because I'm continuing to write. I will not be
Crazy.
scared.
Yeah, see, I think I'm always terribly afraid that they'll attach itself to me and follow me home, and I'll never be able to get rid of them. So I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see you. No, I'll just ignore it.
That was like a concern that I had when I was younger too, and like getting adjusted to going on investigations and learning how to communicate was like, oh, well, what if I bring something home with me? Then I've realized, like, as I've gotten older, I can just tell it, hey, please don't. Like, setting that boundary, and if it is a more positive, more high energy spirit, then they're going to be able to listen. And in the experiences that I have had over the years, none have been negative, none have been violent, dangerous, anything like that. So it's like a healthy communication between myself or whoever I'm with and the spirits. So it's more respectful. So they're like, oh, okay, like, this is where I'm going to stay. Here's what I'm going to do. And I'll leave you alone after that. Cool. Got it. Good talk.
Interesting.
I think we learned that from Lady Luna and Lindy, that they both kind of told us that the same thing, that you establish your boundaries. And by believing those boundaries within yourself, they can't attach to you. So telling them, you are not allowed to attach to me. No. Because even if saying that feels silly, I mean, just try saying that to yourself. There is a difference that happens within yourself and within your energy that I feel creates those boundaries. So even if it's like, okay, there really isn't a ghost that can't hear me, there is something that's occurring internally where we are putting up like a natural guard just by saying that. You are not allowed to attach to me.
Right. And I know a lot of investigators that, once they're done investigating, they will say, hey, thanks for the interaction. We appreciate you, communicating and everything else, but this is where you have to stay. You cannot follow any of us home. And for the most part, I would say 99.9% of the time that it actually works. So, I mean, you always have that one aggressive spirit that's going to do whatever the hell it wants anyway. But for the most part, they've all stayed put.
And can I just be a little spooky? In like, if
Always.
With or without your knowledge, does that awareness do anything to actually keep entities from attaching to you? Like, if you go into a haunted space oblivious, not being aware of them, does that actually make it to where they can't attach to you? Or why then are so many people carrying like spiritual riders with them to begin with? Why do people get hauntings without realizing it or believing in ghosts? Does it really take believing or being open to it to cause that attachment?
It's a really good question.
I think so. I think you have to be some sort of level of sensitive to at least invite them, because they know it. They know that you have the type of energy to communicate with. I think that's why they reach out to certain people, to begin with. But other people just completely oblivious to them, like myself. because I don't want any part of it. And so I think they even if they try, I would try and find a logical explanation for it. So I think it wouldn't even be worth their time to try.
I can just see somebody like trying to get Shane's attention, and he's like, "No, that was the kids," and so they try something more. Nope, still the kids, and then they try something else, and he's like, "No, kids," and they're like, "Fuck it," and they leave. They're like, I'm out. He's not paying attention. We're done.
It's triplets. Yeah, or I'm just playing my video game. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyone scared of dolls?
Always.
Like haunted dolls?
Even though I have one, yes.
You're not scared. You're not scared of dolls, Ashley?
Ashley's not. Well, it's funny. I have a little story. I used to deliver groceries, and there was this lady. Oh my god, her house was so creepy. And I had to go in to drop off the groceries. And in her living room, I shit you not, there were at least 150 freaking dolls just chilling. And it was the creepiest, weirdest freaking feeling ever because, again, that whole feeling, oh, somebody's watching me. Well, there was like 150 pairs of eyes watching. And I swear, each one, it was just like, okay, I need to drop this off and get the fuck out of here real quick.
That reminded me of the scene from House where the kid drops off the groceries and her dead body comes drops from the ceiling. That scene always scared me as a child. No, so Ashley, so would you ever go see Robert the Doll in on the East Coast?
Good old Robert, he's in Florida.
Is he in Florida? Yeah.
What's in him?
That's up for debate, but people think that a nanny gave this author a doll when he was a boy, and he kept it ever since he was into adulthood, and he would talk with it, and he would even have it at the dinner table with him, and treat it like it was a human being. And so he got married, still had the doll, did everything. And then when he passed away, the wife moved out and the doll remained in the house for some time. And people think that the nanny was into voodoo and gave the doll to Robert, or to I forget what the owner's name was. Yeah, as kind of a revenge to the parents, kind of a curse. But now I guess it's in a glass case in a museum. But everyone that films the doll, the batteries drain on their camcorders. I mean, this has been a while ago. I don't know how it is now, but people report it moving. People report it talking.
Yeah, we've actually kind of brought up a little bit of Robert last season. You're not supposed to take pictures without asking, because if you do, bad stuff will happen. Like people who have done it have gotten into accidents, and some people
like
have
Annabelle.
Yeah, some people have actually died and stuff. They have a Facebook page for him, which I do follow. And you'll see people posting for Robert, hey, it's my birthday, you better wish me happy birthday or else. And so it's just, I don't know, they have fun with it. But it's still kind of creepy, and I respect Robert the Doll with everything I have. So,
Me too.
I would like to go visit.
I honestly don't think that would bother me. I think I would visit it. I would visit Annabelle. I would visit Robert. I don't think that there is as much power in those vehicles, those objects, as they're being attributed to. And I don't think that it would bother me. Now, I'm not going to go invading something and being like, hey, you little bitch. But right. I would visit. I wouldn't be concerned with that.
So even knowing that, say, like Annabelle is inhabited by something demonic?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. If Annabelle were inhabited by something demonic, she's been on all over the internet. She's gone through different owners. She's gone through different hands, so to speak, of like even being handled and dealt with. And I feel like if she was inhabited by a demon, that demon would have been gone into an actual living person by now, if it were demonic in nature. At least that's, like, I'm not a demon, I don't know, but I feel like being stuck in something that can't move doesn't sound ideal, like as a possession to me. But what do I know? I'm not a demon. I mean, or am I?
Yeah, a doll does seem more like a trap. Like, okay,
yeah,
I'm hit or miss when it comes to dolls. Yes, I find them creepy, but that's just because of the way that they look, not like the energy surrounding them. Like, it's more of an aesthetic thing. Mm-hmm. And that's just me. Like, I am not inherently freaked out by dolls or things like that. Like with the haunted doll here at the house, like I'm not bothered by that at
Good
all.
old Adelaide. No, she's not creepy at all.
No.
She really isn't.
But I feel like if a spirit is in a doll, that is more of like a trap, whether that is intentional or not. It's more just, hey, I'm here now. This is where I am. Like, I am just now in this body, but I can't do anything with it. I don't really know a whole lot about haunted dolls, though, or anything like that, and I'd love to learn more on the subject. That is my own perspective, there's not much to be afraid of.
There's a lot of belief with dolls, and correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody does know, but it has to do with the eyes and the fact of the resemblance to a human figure, and they can be used as a conduit. So not to really be like, as a, hey, I'm possessing this doll to now take over this doll and do harm to everyone, by, like Chucky. More like I'm using this doll as a conduit so that I can cause fear and raise the belief and feed off that fear. That's what I think. But they're a conduit. It's a tool. It's a tool for spirits and something for them to inhabit in the meantime.
So like a door
Kind of.
to feed off of that raised, or I guess lowered vibration of fear.
Yeah.
But now you're bound to a doll.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, think of it as like Pennywise, right? Pennywise loved fear. He fed off it. Who is more vulnerable than children? I mean, if I were a demon, I would love to inhabit a doll and feed off children's fear.
So we've got Monsters Inc. here. That's the Boo Factory, but in dolls.
Eh, it's a good analogy.
I'm just figuring that out. Yeah, I could do that. But it takes a human. It takes a human to attach those entities to these non-human items. And the amount of process, if we believe in that it would take to attach something, whether it be a low-level ghost or a high-level demon, like, I don't know. Not that there's a hierarchy, but I just think that, like, I don't know. I'm a believer in a lot of things, but I just don't see demons being attached to items and staying attached, because it's easier to feed off of live human energy you're embodying and go from human to human to human possession as you wear down each host, versus by proxy feeding off of like secondhand energy. Like, do I want the main source, or do I want like the secondhand wave that I sometimes get if I scare them? I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's a permanent solution for any kind of demonic energy, even spirits that try to inhabit the dolls. I think for the most part, it's a temporary housing so that they can get some sort of energy to manifest, or for demons. I mean, if you think about it, it would be like, like I said, who is more vulnerable than a child? And children talk to their dolls all the time. And to bring something into this world, you have to will it to be. And kids do that all the time with dolls and make-believe friends.
I will say, and this is going to take me a while to come full circle here, but trust me, I'm going to get there.
We're in it with you.
No one's more long-winded than I am. You go for it, girl.
Going to go on a tangent, but it's coming back to this point. I have a love-hate relationship with the horror genre. The horror film genre is what I should say. I love scary movies, and I love that feeling of being scared. But what I don't like is some of the perceptions that those films give onto us in our daily lives. So when we're talking about haunted dolls and negative, demonic energy, I think that does come from a place of, we've seen this in horror movies, we've seen this in scary movies, and we know that that's going to get a rise out of us. And yes, those films had to start somewhere. Someone had to come up with those ideas first, whether that is from an actual case or whether that's from the director's mind. It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It was the egg, but that's besides the point. I just feel like those negative connotations and the reason that we are so scared of demonic energy in relation to objects comes from that film industry. So we're talking about, being scared of dolls, being scared of this negative energy associated with these objects, but I don't think that that's necessarily always the case. Not everything is bad and mean and scary. We're just used to seeing it in pop culture.
Kind of like the fear of clowns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the point. I came full circle.
I agree.
I said what I said.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for the most part. I definitely can see your point in that. Yeah, definitely pop culture and horror movie genre has fed our what's the word I'm looking for? Baseless fears for stuff like that. But I don't know. For me, I know there's stuff out there that exists, and my mom has had it happen to her because she was a child in a very religious household and used to talk to something in her closet all the time. And as a child, and when they found out, they corrected her really, really fast and was like, never talk to it because you're going to bring it into the real world and you're inviting it to your life. And so she stopped. And I always refer back to the moment when we were in Colorado and she woke up in the middle of the night to something dragging her off her bed. And she thought it was a dream, but then that's when her legs were over the edge of her bed. How do you sleepwalk being dragged that way? And all she said was, in the name of God, please go back to hell. And then she woke up, she said, and it was there. But I have a firm belief that it had something to do with that. And a lot of stuff that's happened in my life, I feel like it was kind of related to that moment. It's always been linked.
I like that she said please.
I don't think she said
She
please.
has manners. Oh, I was going to say, she has manners even in fear. I'd be like screaming all sorts of expletives.
Right.
Knowing my mom, there's probably a lot of expletives.
Yeah, and it's not to say that, these things don't happen, because obviously in that case, this is real, and there is a reason that we see it in horror movies. There's a reason why that strikes fear in us. I don't think that is always the case, so it's good to look on both sides. And I do apologize if that came off negative.
No.
Or okay.
And there's also something when it comes to dolls, that fear, I don't think it's necessary. I do agree part of it is stemmed from the pop culture horror movies that tried to make us afraid, but I think that fear was already there. They were just like really magnifying it and playing off of it, because we discussed this in Psychology of Horror in season 1, the Uncanny Valley, which is the hypothesis that humanoid objects evoke this cold, eerie feeling within the viewer, within the beholder. So anything, whether it be robots or 3D computer animations that don't quite feel real.
It's like a natural instinct. Right?
Yeah, it's a natural instinct that they're playing off of. And dolls that look like humans, like Annabelle and stuff like that, those porcelain dolls, they freak out people because they are very human-like. And I think it is based on that uncanny valley, that feeling of eeriness and revulsion that we feel, that it's humanoid but not quite human. So it's like something's not quite right. And yeah, absolutely. I think the horror industry totally played up on that. But demons and dolls, that should be a restaurant name.
Demons and dolls.
Ooh,
Demons
I
and dolls
see
and
it now.
donuts.
Yes.
And
Ooh.
donuts. Just have a bunch of creepy dolls lining the store and then donuts. So in urban legends, we talked about Golden Gate Park and how there's supposedly ghosts there. And I went to Golden Gate Park this past weekend, and I was like, I left at sundown, and I was kind of like peeking around to see if I could see any like ghost phantom police vehicles. And I saw no cops, no ghost cops.
No ghost cops.
Paranormal police. I saw no paranormal police. Well, the skateboarders were out in plenty at that point, and someone had like a neon. It was like you see on the kids like the flashing lights, but they had that on their boombox. So it was like they were skating around. Yeah, on their boombox, and it was just like, but it was animated, like circling, spiraling around. I was like, this is cool.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
So no paranormal police, huh?
No paranormal police. I tried. I tried to
Right.
see if I could find them, but I guess I didn't try that hard. But
Right.
I'm not going to walk through San Francisco at night in the Golden Gate Park. Like, nope. Nope.
No.
It's not a thing.
Bad idea.
Very
It's
bad
funny.
idea. So.
that you bring up a park because, I mean, I had brought up the park in the last episode, the Mexican Hat Park, the Sombrero, over there in Denver. I had what I thought was kind of paranormal experience at the time. I was walking with my friend, who I think I had mentioned before in the last episode. We were walking through the park at night, and the park's closed. It closes at 11, but there's a bike path that runs through it, and you can still walk through the park. And we're walking and we're talking, and all of a sudden we hear this loud bang. And automatically, I'm like 17, 18 years old. I'm thinking, shit, gunshot, right? Like, I jump up 50 feet in the air and I run. And I turn around and my friend's still standing there and he's laughing his ass off. What the hell is so funny? Why aren't you running? Why aren't you scared? Turns out it was a sprinkler head that had popped up and it was facing the tree. So it was literally like within a foot of the tree, and it hit the tree so hard once it popped up and turned on. And we were right there next to that tree when it happened. It scared the ever-loving shit out of me. It was just great.
Love those experiences where you think it's a ghost and it is not a ghost.
Yes. Oh,
actually, I wish for those experiences.
Right? Sometimes those are better.
Instead, I get the feng shui ghosts.
Yeah. Rearranging the studio.
So, I guess the TV studio, like, they sold that location, so I'm curious if the new owners have had any experiences.
Right.
Does anyone have any other paranormal experiences they want to share?
I do have another one that was fucking weird.
No. Lay it on us.
And I've heard the cemetery pronounced different ways. It's either Fairmount or Fairmount.
I knew you were going to say that one. Damn
Of course, I know.
That's my terrifying cemetery.
I know. It was terrifying for me too. So I had this friend that was just obsessed with the cemetery. She was like, I want to go check it out. I want to do this. I'm like, cool, let's go during the day, like normal people. Let's go check it out during the day. No, I want to go check it out at night. It's scarier. I'm like, I was like, they closed the gates. You can't get in. There's no way. She's like, oh, but we should try. And there is a bike path that runs through there too, and you can get in through the bike path, but that's not how we did this. So one night she finally convinces me. She's like, all right, let's go. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, if it'll shut you up, let's go. You'll see that the gates are locked. We're not going to be able to get in. So we drive, and it's like, I don't know, it's winter, so it's still kind of, it gets dark early. And it's like 6 or 7. And we drive up, we get to the gates. And I'm like, see, they're locked. The sons of bitches opened. The gates just opened and let us drive in. There's nobody there. I'm like, what the hell? This is not cool. She's like, see, something wants us here. I'm like, that's not a good thing. Don't do that. So we go and we drive and we park all the way to the back. I think it's the mausoleum. I'm not sure. It's this huge ass building. And we park there because we can't get lost. It's a big building. How are you going to get lost from, can't find a big building, whatever. So we park, we get out, and we start walking around. And we get to the middle of the cemetery, but we're closer to the street where we drove in. And then we start hearing like this weird, creepy howling. Sounded like a dog, but not quite. And I'm like, all right, maybe it's dogs across the street, whatever. So we continue to walk up, and we're starting to walk towards the mausoleum again. And we don't know exactly where we're at. We have no clue. We're in the middle of this cemetery, but we don't know how far in, out, around, whatever. And the stupid howling keeps getting louder and closer. It got to the point where it was behind us, and then all of a sudden it was surrounding us.
What?
Yeah.
Like more than one?
Like more than one. Turn around, we use the lights on our flashlight or on our phones, and can't see anything. But then there's also footsteps, 4-legged footsteps coming around, and it's multiple, you can't tell how many, but like it was just the weirdest feeling, and we were still lost at this point. And it's just like, all right, this is getting louder, it's getting creepier, it's freaking me the hell out. Like I have no idea what the hell's going on. And then once we finally, because we started running, I'm like, fuck this, I'm running. I don't know which direction, but I'm running. I'm going. We finally figure out where we are, and everything just stops. No more howling, no more footsteps, no more surrounding, nothing. We get in the car finally, and we're driving again. There's only like 2 different paths to go. somehow we couldn't freaking find the path to get out either. I was like, yeah, I don't like the cemetery. I'm not coming back at night, if at all. Which
sounds very similar to me going in, getting lost, and then not being able to find the way out.
Yes, yeah. It was, you know all about it. So yeah, it's a creepy ass freaking place. But yeah.
Who was that with you? Who was with you at the time?
I just had a friend that we just hang out with all the time, but Ashley's had experiences there on her own. Obviously.
Well, it wasn't on my own.
Well, not on her own, but like without me, because this was before we had met.
I would never go to that cemetery at midnight on my own. No. I would go because the loved one is begging me to take them, and then forever regret it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I try to avoid that cemetery where possible. I don't like my experiences there. So, right. But which is interesting because I love cemeteries, as weird as that sounds, in general. I think they're very
beautiful.
serene.
They
There's
really
beautiful headstones, beautiful sculptures, statues. I think they have some really interesting things, and it's very peaceful and serene there. But that one, nope, no thanks.
Yeah, definitely. It even feels that way during the day, because I've gone back during the day, and I'm like, yeah, same feeling. You know, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is where we were lost. All right, we really weren't that far off from where we were, but why all of a sudden where we were
changes?
Did we feel like, yeah, it was just surrounded by what we called hellhounds? We have no idea, because I'm pretty sure that was an old Native American land before it was the cemetery, because I know it's the second oldest one here in Colorado. But yeah, I don't know. Creepy shit.
That's pretty much sums up like just our podcast in general. This is what we talk about. # creepy shit. We scare ourselves.
Yes.
Maybe they were Numina.
Maybe. At that point, I didn't know what they were, but yeah.
You think Numina howl?
I don't know.
I don't want to find out.
What were they being drawn to at that specific moment? Because I think...
Probably his friend.
Right.
She wanted it. She wanted to open herself up. I mean, it sounds like everything was kind of a presentation for her, or him.
Right. No, it was her. Yeah.
Her, yeah. That's what it sounds like. That's why I was like, who's with you? Because whoever it was, they definitely were going to get what they wanted.
Yeah. And boy, did they.
Mm-hmm. Did they ever want to go back?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know.
Some people never learn.
And we did a couple times, but...
And we did. Some people never learn, indeed.
Right, yeah. No, nothing like that had happened again. It was, oh man, it was just the weirdest thing ever.
Well, this is another fun episode. I like that we just kind of organically talked about random things. Do you guys have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I definitely don't recommend trying to go into a cemetery at night. It is illegal. Don't do that. We got lucky and didn't have to deal with the
consequences of your actions.
Yeah. Got lucky and got help from the spirit realm. That's what happened there.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I don't condone breaking into places for the experience. And again, we didn't really break in. It opened and let us in, but still, don't do it out there, folks.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Exactly.
Don't try. I think that most of the stuff we talk about, it's like, don't try this at home, kids. Don't try love spells. Don't try to put demons in dolls. Like, just don't.
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong.
All right. Well, bring us home, Jonathan.
I'm bringing us home.
Oh, wait, no. I lied. Hold on.
What?
It's Lila.
What?
It's Lila. Lila brings us home.
Me?
Oh, we want Lila to bring us home this
Ghost
time?
host.
Ghost host?
Yes. Sorry, John.
Ghost host.
No, you're good.
Ghost host with the most.
Yes.
All right, Lila, our ghost host with the most, bring us home.
Thank you so much to Shane for joining us on another episode of 3Haunted Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your ghost host, Lila Kay.
I'm John Thomas.
And I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our social media and podcasting platforms. And we will catch you in the next episode.
Whoop, whoop.
I liked it. That was good. High five.
I loved it. Woo!